There is a moment in every pursuit where the light fades. The initial rush of discovery vanishes and you are left standing on a plateau. The horizon is flat. The progress is invisible. This is where the journey of the master begins and where most others end. True mastery is not a product of intensity, but of diligence. It is the act of practicing for the sake of the practice itself. The master does not merely endure the plateau. The master learns to love it. They find as much satisfaction in the stillness of the plateau as they do in the surge of the climb. But the path is long. It is rocky. It promises no quick payoffs and no easy exits. Because the human mind recoils from this hardship, it seeks other paths. It creates masks to hide the fear of the plateau. Look closely. You may find yourself wearing one of them. Consider the dabbler. The dabbler enters a new sport, a new career, or a new love with a hunger that looks like passion, but is actually an addiction to novelty. They love the rituals of the beginning, the pristine equipment, the specialized lingo, the intoxicating shine of the new. When the first spurt of progress arrives, the dabbler is overjoyed. They show their form to the world. They boast to friends and strangers alike, convinced they have found their calling. But then, the plateau arrives. To the dabbler, this stillness is an insult. It is incomprehensible. As the progress slows, the enthusiasm dies. They begin to miss the lessons. They build a fortress of rationalizations, telling themselves the pursuit is too competitive, too boring, or too aggressive. They claim it simply does not fulfill their unique needs. So they leave. They start again, hoping that this time they will reach the second plateau. In the professional world, the dabbler is the one with the long resume. They love the new office, the new colleagues, and the shimmer of projected earnings. They report every early win to their circle, only to vanish the moment the work becomes a grind. In love, the dabbler specializes in the honeymoon. They revel in the seduction, the surrender, and the parade of the ego. But when the ardor cools, they do not seek to grow. To stay would require changing themselves, and that is too high a price. It is easier to jump into another bed and begin the cycle again. The dabbler calls themselves an adventurer, a connoisseur of experience. In truth, they are the eternal child, the one who changes partners and professions but never changes themselves. Then there is the obsessive. The obsessive is a creature of the bottom line. They do not settle for second best, and they demand results immediately. They want the perfect stroke in the first lesson. They lean in when they speak. Their energy is an assault. They hoard books, tapes, and resources, desperate to accelerate the clock. At first, the obsessive makes robust progress. The initial surge is exactly what they expected. But when the plateau inevitably arrives, the obsessive does not accept it. They redouble their effort with a merciless intensity. They ignore the counsel of moderation. They work through the night. They are tempted by the shortcut, believing that speed is a substitute for depth. This is the spirit of the modern corporate machine. The drive to keep the profit curve angled upward at any cost, sacrificing research, long-term planning, and patient development for the sake of the immediate result. In relationships, the obsessive lives for the peak. They do not leave when the ardor cools, but they cannot accept the stillness. They try to force the high through extravagant gifts, erotic escalation, or staged melodrama. They do not understand that the plateau is where the soul develops. The result is a roller coaster, stormy separations followed by passionate reconciliations. When the crash finally comes, it is violent. It leaves both partners in pain, with nothing to show for the wreckage but a void where growth should have been. The obsessive lives a jagged life, brief spurts of ascent followed by sharp declines. And when the fall occurs, they do not fall alone. They take their colleagues, their stockholders, and their lovers down with them. Finally, there is the hacker, The hacker has found a way to survive the plateau by simply settling for it. They are content to stay in the shallows indefinitely. They skip the essential stages of mastery because they only wish to hack around with others who have also stopped growing. They are the physician who stops learning, the teacher who ignores the evolution of their craft, the athlete who masters one shot and decides that a ragged backhand is an acceptable price for comfort. In the workplace, the hacker does just enough to survive. They take every break. They talk instead of doing. Then they look at their stagnant career and wonder why the promotions never come. In love, the hacker seeks a refuge. They view partnership not as a journey of mutual development, but as a shield against the uncertainties of the world. They settle for a static monogamy, unchanging roles, a domestic arrangement based on economic utility rather than spiritual growth. This arrangement may hold for a time, but the world does not stand still. When one partner continues to improve while the hacker remains frozen, the gap becomes a canyon. The game ends. The relationship breaks. These patterns are not cages, but they are powerful. You may be a dabbler in your heart, but a master in your art. You may be a hacker on the golf course, but an obsessive in your career. Yet for most, a primary pattern prevails. It shapes your performance. It carves your character. It decides your destiny. When the mirror is held up to a crowd, the divide is almost always equal. A third are dabblers. A third are obsessives. A third are hackers. Recognition is the only way out. To name the pattern is to break its power. The goal is not to be the fastest or the most enthusiastic, but to simply get on the path and start moving.